That's not what He has at least read 3 paragraphs, so no, if we don't get started Monday morning,
if you want to complain, this is the man to see, yeah?
No, not me. Over to you guys.
Thank you. Right, luckily, old Jonesy has opted for an informal event, which has alleviated the pressure of myself and Andy actually writing something half decent about a senile old sea dog. Following a career in his beloved Navy, Mark joined the fire service back in 1987.
First aid.
And somehow survived right through till 14th of October 2012. Initially, he was stationed at Basingstoke, where he served his probation for 2 years. On his watch, 5 people got sacked for bullying. In fact, we wish it was 6 people, so we were about to write this shit speech.
After his lovely experiences at Basingstoke, Mark ventured south to Cotton Station for 13 years. According to him, the most significant thing that happened here was that he got knocked off his bike. And the SEU came along to send him off to hospital. Well, I guess after his boy bonding on a Navy boat for 20 years, it really was hard to match that kind of excitement. It was here that Mark's unhealthy obsession with sexy lingerie came to light. Clearly thinking his fellow colleagues shared the same panty passion, during a house fire, Mark's fellow Oppo, Andy L, ended up with a pair of kinky knickers inside his face mask. And how this was achieved and where they came from, only Mark knows.
Nicknames have always been a formality on any watch and normally placed through the most random of connections, but can last for years. Here we go. Yeah. Mark's origins were from Wiltshire, where at this time numerous murders were taking place with bodies ending up on the rail line. Little card, but apologies. Mark and Pat's new house in Fratton backed onto the track. And that was enough for Jonesy to become known as Mr. Murderer. Pat was known affectionately as Mrs. Murderer. And in fire service comic genius, the kids also became known as the Murderer's Kids.
It was a murderess.
But it's rumoured that Mark's first wife, God bless her soul, was buried somewhere else on the tracks.
Under the patio.
West.
People would say, I didn't know he had an ex-wife, at which point they would say, exactly, genius.
Mark spent 8 years on Greenwatch Cosham, but when we pressed the watch for what he actually got up to, nobody seems to know. The one constant trait which seemed to be bandied around was his enthusiasm for getting a good medium long shot. Jonesy wasn't fazed if a house was burning like a towering inferno, and rather than reaching for the hose, he would opt for his trusty old SLR. In fact, he is even rumoured to have thrown furniture on the fire to make the photo more dramatic. Funnily enough, he was also a dab hand at shooting ladies' underwear. That's a whole other story that I better not mention.
Often Jonesy would reminisce about his time in the Navy, and obviously still yearning for the seamen, he joined the local lifeboat crew. During some stormy weather and responding to a flooding incident, the Salty Sea Dog had a flashback thinking he was still in the Spanish Armada. Captain Crazy decided to meet Cosham's stormy seas head on.
Unfortunately, this was not a boat. it was a fucking £200,000 fire appliance, and it did not float. The Dozy Fall drove it into 4 feet of water just off Cosham roundabout. Captain Pugwash bailed out of his ship shouting, "Land ahoy!" And that particular engine never did make it back on the line.
At that point, Mark had enough of the firefighting game and decided to go on the promotional trail, like most people after they screw up. He ventured off for 2 years at the press gang. Here, apparently, his best picture turned out to be his bum sporting ladies' knickers taken on the photocopy machine. After returning back to Greenwatch Cosham for 2 months, his luck had come in and he was given crew manager promotion, in which he had always dreamed of, and took him to sunny Southsea.
He had a 2-year spell at Redwatch Southsea, where he became very familiar with the watch. You could say he lived, breathed and slept with the watch now. He could often be found spooning the female crew manager in the name of comfort.
Mark did then peak with an illustrious move to Redwatch Cosham. It's hard to decipher what Jamesy actually did while he was with us, apart from booking holiday after holiday and dedicating his late evenings to watching Family Guy and eating fish poo ice cream.
We do recall one particular time when Mark was left in charge of the whole station on the day of our Christmas dinner. Of higher importance for the community's safety and arguably more responsibility, Mark was tasked with cooking the meal, as us lowly firefighters had prepared and provided his meals for the earlier part of the year. Lo and behold, the call comes in. It's a house fire in Jonesy's Road.
Jonesy shout, "That's my road!" and starts barking out directions, even though everyone knows where it is, and jumps on the truck. With a professional air of necessity, the ladder flies out the station, only to have a BMW carve across it at the roundabout.
Harry the driver professionally screams, "How the fuck did we miss that?" as the truck skids toward the roundabout and the car. At this point, Harry looks to his officer in charge, Mr. Jones, who happens to be unaware he is still sporting his 1-foot-high Christmas turkey hat. And off they go to Whitley Road, Cosham. Go on, buddy. Stick with it.
Bearing in mind, Jonesy lives here, they drove to the wrong end of the road. With the neighbours' curtains twitching, Jonesy was busy demanding his crew to smash down the door of an unsuspecting bungalow.
Meanwhile, Control informed Harry, the driver, that there should be about 10 people stood outside and the kitchen is meant to be well alight. And by the way, it's Whitley Road, Stamshaw. 2 miles south of where they actually are. In the style of Benny Hill, everyone's back on the trucks and heading south with Jonesy still sporting a turkey on his head.
Jonesy has always been regarded as a top athlete. Showed his true competitiveness by coming up with the challenge of how many Viennettas can you eat in an hour. These were extra long, because he's that type of guy. So with the enthusiasm of the watch behind him, he lays out about 6 foot of ice cream. With his abs styled on Homer Simpson, I would have bet the house on him getting past 2. Bearing in mind there was 5, he failed miserably and was a little sick, which he thoroughly deserved.
To gain back some respect At a later date, he attempted to eat 6 cream eggs. With 1.5 in his mouth, he suffered lockjaw. And again failed miserably. This was again very disappointing, as we've seen him swallow a whole lot more.
You all know Jonesy loves to get dressed up for a night out on the town, from Biggles to an Egyptian explorer. To mark his 50th birthday, Jonesy went with a pair of Manhancer latex pants in the shape of a penis. Funnily enough, he had a surprise up his sleeve, or shall I say pants. The ladies were loving it until they realised his Johnson was slipped into the fake one. And he'd been getting felt up all evening. What a birthday treat, you dirty dog.
Mark has always liked a good old bit of socialising, and not content with partying hard at Kev Lloyd's 50th, he decided to carry on the party back at his house. A few of us raided the bar and dragged some crates back. Now, bearing in mind, everyone was Jaeger bomb crazy, pardon, and the guest list included myself, dressed as Batwoman, Andy as Banana Man, aka Poo Pants, and Chappers off Blue Watch as Super Granny, you might begin to suspect some cantankerous behaviour.
Well, earlier on we've mentioned how much Jonesy likes his holiday. And there just so happened to be some holiday tickets on the kitchen side for a lovely safari break to Kenya. Out of endearing love for the old fool, we thought we could enhance his journey by filling in any special requirements. We could have written anything, but after much drunken collaboration and schoolboy sniggering, we went for extra ball bag space.
Sorry.
Come on.
Unfortunately, this moment of comedy genius fitted into the realms of defacing an official document. Thankfully, Jonesy blamed the defacing on his mischievous grandson. And it all ended happily with them getting extra large seats after all.
For the last part of Mark's career, he was on total wind down in the role as community liaison officer in Havant. This position is like the elephant's graveyard. But it suited Mark, as being laid back and doing as little as possible was his thing. So he was suitably qualified.
Jonesy was only on our watch for 2 years, but certainly
Done
became...
all that in 2 years.
We've done some digging. But certainly became a great asset of the team while he was here. This is a serious bit. In total, Mark has honourably served the Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service for 26 years. We would like to wish him the best for his future endeavours and hope he enjoys his retirement.
Please, raise your glasses to wish Mark all the best for his future.
To Mark!
To Mark.
I believe we might have a couple of presents to present.
On behalf of the watch, Terry and the guys, we've all loved it together. And oh yeah, don't worry about that. There's not much aside, alright? From the guys, we have made it. Yes, we made it. Yeah. And congratulations on your retirement. Sorry, there is something else on this.
There you go, Pat.
Barman's sleeping, it's a free bar again.